Okay, you guys, first of all, thank you so much for coming today. Thank you to your teachers for bringing you here. Do you guys know even why you're here? No. Okay, you're about to find out. Okay, I'm here to introduce Mr. Appling, Mr. Jason Appling, and he and I know each other from, we taught together at our old school, my old school, not his old school, Collins Hill High School. Have y'all heard of Collins Hill High School before? Maybe, maybe not. What I always say about Mr. Appling is he's one of those teachers, and you know you have these ones, where you have him and he's the one that you want to stay in contact with forever, because he's the one that makes such a difference in your life, and by the end of it you hate to even leave their class. That's this teacher. He's amazing, amazing coworker, an amazing teacher, just caring about kids and really making a difference, and you'll see that through this presentation. You'll see just his love of that. So I am trying not to, until the last group, I try not to say too much at the beginning because I don't want to take away from what he's going to tell you. But you're in for an awesome treat today, so if y'all give a round of applause to Mr. Appling.
Good news is you guys got out of class. Right. So there's that.
Like Ms. Mueller said, my name is Jason Appling. I teach high school over at Collins Hill still. Next year will be 20 for me, year 20. I teach only seniors, so, you know, I've got that little spot all the way up until spring break, because when a senior comes back from spring break, they're not hearing anything I have to tell them. I'm not mad at them for it, but gosh, I wish they'd pay a little bit more attention to me during that time. I'm here today, and Ms. Mueller invited me here today to talk to y'all about a series of books that I have wrote. The title of the series is called Edgar, and it is for sale on Amazon. You know, Amazon, where you can buy pretty much anything and everything and stuff you don't even want. People... Okay, that's just weird. Like, seriously, y'all have it good here at Collins Hill. There would be like 15 cops. Like, what are you kids doing out here? But the thing about it is, and it's not a bad school, guys. Before you look, where in God's name does this guy teach? No, it's not that bad. It's just, like I said, I was invited here to talk to you guys about my books and not about my personal life. So we'll get into that. I'll read you guys a little bit, and then if you have questions, and God knows you might have questions, either about the book, either about why my head shines so well in the fluorescent lighting, like whatever. I'm a pretty open guy. I'm pretty laid back, pretty easy to talk to, despite outward appearances to the contrary. I'm going to dress like this so people will leave me alone for a little bit. That's all. So without further ado, I wrote this book. It is it's a love story. You know, Valentine's Day is coming up, so it is technically a love story, and it has zombies in it. So, you know, hey, yeah, zombies. Yeah, pieces of flesh fall off. Zombies. Yeah. The title of the book is called Edgar: A Story About Love and Zombies and Pizza. Okay? This is all the zombie apocalypse as told through the eyes of the zombie, because, well, we never get their point of view, ever, which is kind of sad. Chapter 1. I'll start on chapter 1. I could start on chapter 5, but y'all might not know what in the world's going on. So we'll start at chapter 1. Seems pretty good place. They say the journey of 1,000 miles begins with a single step. God knows I've taken more than my share of that equation. The air around me is brisk this morning. The leaves crumble into soft dust beneath my feet. If I had any painting skills at all, I would be able to make Bob Ross himself weep at how happy the trees look today against the serenity of the purples and pinks of the morning sky. It would be idyllic for anyone to get married on a day like this. I completely picture the groom standing at the altar and the bride sauntering down the aisle. Everyone's head is turned toward her with joyous expressions on their faces. The little flower girl dumping the mass of rose petals all in one clump, and everybody laughing about it. The ring bearer boy, too busy playing with a fidget spinner to notice his cue to walk down with the pillow. A little more laughter. The exchange of vows. The walk out as husband and wife. The reception. where the uncle gets so drunk that he starts telling stories to embarrass the groom, and someone shoving coffee in his face before he gets totally creepy and starts hitting on the bridesmaids who just turned 18 and just want to take selfies so they can get back to their jobs at the Dairy Delight to serve the locals their milkshakes and burgers. Yep, it would be idyllic indeed, but that's not possible. Despite the image I just described to you, it's not possible because there aren't people anymore. Nothing really remains. I mean, the weather and nature are still here, yet humanity is non-existent as far as I can tell. The buildings remain, and I can still recognize what most of them used to be, but they're all desolate and ransacked. I'm unsure as to what happened or how it all went down, but I'm certain of two things. Number one, my name is Edgar. Number two, I'm a zombie. Now, I have a good idea what's going through your head. It probably sounds a little bit like this. Oh, great. Another book about zombies. Pretty sure this is going to be all about him eating brains. I already know what happens on every zombie show ever made. I own Zombie Cheerleaders from Planet Cornball on VHS, DVD, and the collector's edition on Blu-ray. I read How to Survive the Apocalypse, and I have subscribed to numerous YouTube channels to survive it. Am I right? Based upon all that experience, you'd last exactly less than 2 seconds out here. Look, I'm not saying I'm a tough guy zombie by any stretch of the imagination. In fact, when I was human, I was your standard nerd. Conventions about gaming, lots of sack lunches, pizza rolls, and Mountain Dew for days, son. No women anywhere. But the fact is, this place kind of sucks. I mean, sure, there are other zombies, but there's not really any way we can talk to each other. I mean, I only know my thoughts. It's actually really hard to know what another zombie's thinking. It's not like our facial expressions change all that much. I mean, yeah, like a jaw might fall off of Peter and you think, damn, did Peter do something with his hair this morning? Like he's always been on the cutting edge of post-apocalyptic fashion, but this is a whole other level. And you realize, nope, just his jaw had fallen off. We've got a really bad reputation with Hollywood slandering our names, but the truth is, we're not that much different from the ones who survived the outbreak. We want a place to call our own. Like maybe to start a community, and if we're dreaming really big, perhaps a Target to do our shopping in. Problem is, the communication isn't that great. I mean, Hollywood did manage to get that right about us, but they failed to mention the complexities that exist in the brains of the undead. Like me, for example. I hate the word undead. It's totally insensitive. Like, aren't any of the ones who haven't turned also undead? I mean, they haven't died, right? But no, zombies don't get those type of luxuries. Oh, and enough with the whole brain-eating thing. We don't want to eat anyone's brains at all. Yes, you get hungry. Are you hungry reading this right now? Oh, look, I bet you're human and all. With your 98-degree flesh and Wi-Fi connection in all your cafes. Just reading this book like, dang, Edgar, not only do you have a horrifically craptastic name, but you have to eat people's brains to live? That's horrible. I can never be a zombie. Well, yeah. I mean, you couldn't survive the apocalypse, and you couldn't be a zombie. So now that we've narrowed those two things down, what is it that you can do? I mean, the only thing I can do is walk around and grunt at other zombies. Sometimes, if I'm really feeling like I have my sassy pants on, and I see a female zombie I'm attracted to, I'll grunt for longer than I normally would. Like it was in life before, however, she usually just creeps past me like I don't even exist. People often wonder why zombies walk around aimlessly so much. I mean, it's usually just to find a place, but more often than not, we're looking for food. Yo, calm down, tough guy. We aren't looking for you specifically, we're just looking for food. And as everything's pretty much abandoned, we have to keep walking. You know what I'd really kill for? Like what I crave more than anything in this entire destroyed earth? Pizza. Yeah, bet you didn't see that one coming, did you? Problem is, there's no functioning pizza place at all anymore. If there was a working microwave in a grocery store that wasn't shredded, I'd even eat one of those 99-cent frozen pizzas. Like, you know the ones I'm talking about. Don't act like you don't. The ones where you're at a party and the most hammered guy's just sitting there in a corner chewing on that cardboard made to look like pizza with the little cubes that are supposed to be pepperoni. That's what I miss most about the whole world. If I could find even one slice of pizza in a little place of my own, a gray flesh beauty of a woman to settle down with, that'd be living the dream, or unliving the dream. Stupid term. You see what I mean with the whole undead thing? But I'm going to keep walking until I find it. I don't care if I have to walk the ends of the earth. I don't care if both my legs fall off. I'll have that pizza before it's all said and done. My name's Edgar. This is my story. No, wait. Let's call it a quest. Edgar's Quest for Pizza. Actually, scrap that. We'll just go with this is my story. Last period, I stopped, and I asked if there were questions. And everyone stared at me, much like y'all staring at me right now. It looks a lot like this. You dropped something. So, there was one kid that raised his hand. He's like all extra cautious, like. And of course, I get way too excited about, ooh, questions are like bound over there. I'm like, you, sir. Could you read us another chapter? Like, okay, sure. Would it be better if I went the second one for y'all? Yes. Second chapter? For sure. Yeah, sure. Anything to keep us out of class, right? Right. Yes. Let's do that. Let's stay out of class today. The worst thing about it is they told me there's a fire drill in third period. And then I'm going to have to like run around like looking for my class. I'm like, where are my students? I'm like, I'm not even at my own high school. Oh, sorry.
I need to go to college. I'm seriously probably good.
Chapter 2. Because, you know, chronological order is an important thing. Like I mentioned before, getting pizza in this place is nothing short of miraculous. Like I probably have better luck winning the lottery or predicting when the next 5 blades of grass are going to grow and when they will spring up. It just hurts me knowing that I will more than likely never be returned with my one true love. No time to think about such things. However, it's time to get up and go on my day. Y'all heard that, right?
Right.
Okay. My daily routine is pretty basic. I get up, stretch out for a little bit, and begin my walk in town. It takes me a little longer than it normally would, but there again, I don't want to waste energy unnecessarily. I also tend to get lost on the way, no GPS and all. I usually encounter other zombies on the way, and we do the basic greeting. If you don't know what that looks like, it's a little bit like when 2 drunk people see each other in a bar and sort of recognize each other. We stand still, sway in the breeze, grunt at each other for a few seconds, and then stagger on. I try not to look anyone in the eyes. I made that mistake early on when I saw a female zombie from behind. She was staggering towards her destination, and her hair was chunky and caked with dirt. Her flesh seemed to be illuminated by the sun, so I figured I would get over to her and lay on my most smooth grunt to inform the fair maiden that I was interested. I mean, it took me a while to get to her, but she ran into a tree and couldn't figure out how to get around the whole obstacle thing. Like she just kept running into the tree over and over and over. I get along beside her. Oh man, it's gonna be it. I grunt softly, longer. She turns. Let's totally ignore the fact that she has a beard and focus rather on her eyes. Eye. See, the other one was this cavernous void that had, from what I could tell, every last maggot on the planet stacked inside of it.
Oh, God.
Dear God, why? Not only did I think this was a girl, but I may have found the zombie version of every Allman Brothers fan since the creation started, plus maggots. Truly, I have hit the jackpot. Bottom line, if you and I ever meet on the street and I don't look you in the eyes, it's not because I'm being rude. It's just that I have nightmares now from seeing the face that should be on the cover of every death metal album for the next 30 years. Anyway, like I said, getting in town can be a bit of a challenge. I never really know where I'm going, and I follow people who I'm pretty sure have less of a clue than I do. There are abandoned cars all on the side of the road and all throughout what used to be the highways. If you don't know how difficult it is to get to places when roads aren't really an option, feel free to go sauntering through the woods in order to find a local establishment without ever setting foot on a road. Best of luck with that, Davy Crockett. Let me know how that works out for you. Eventually, we end up in town. Town's always a mixed bag for me. Like I said, I can remember how most things were before I turned, but everything is different now. The windows have been boarded up, but there's always some halfie in the street. A halfie is a zombie who's been ripped in half. Like, it's pretty cool looking when it's the top half, but when it's the lower torso, it just looks silly. It's just legs flapping about in the breeze. and I can at least go inside the old coffee shop and pretend like I'm standing in line for my very important coffee of the day. But the pizza calls to me. It's the thing that drives me the most. I try to go into many places humanly, zombily possible, just for a taste of civilization, a meaning, a purpose. I go into a store and Greg is in there. I don't know if that's exactly his name, but he just kind of looks like a Greg. In fact, I don't know anyone's name at all. I just kind of make up the names based upon different habits. You know what I mean? And then I heard it. Greg was standing there next to me and chewing on some old drywall. That Greg, always doing crazy things. And it was loud, clear, like nodding grunts. Voices. Human voices. Even Greg stopped chewing on the drywall and a piece fell from his teeth. I look outside. There's a halfie dangling from a little children's carousel outside of the We Saves a Lot. She's groaning and pointing in the direction of where I bought my first comic book. I look. There are 5 of them. Their flesh isn't gray. They even appear to be sweating profusely, which is strange given the fall-like weather. They're heavily armed and pointing guns in all directions as they advance toward the halfie. One pulls out a knife and slams it into the halfie's temple. The halfie is no longer doing anything. I try to put my hand over my mouth to avoid making noise, but my coordination isn't what it used to be anymore, so I end up slapping myself in the face. The noise alerts Greg, and genius that he is, takes it as a sign to attempt to go and run towards the group. Greg makes it maybe about 6 steps, and he is the equivalent of Swiss cheese, zombie style. I panic. I turn to run as fast as I can out of the store, and they must have a back door somewhere. The voices are getting louder, and there's someone yelling about another one in there. Bullets zip past my head, and I finally find the back door. It's locked. Of course it's locked. I guess people must have figured out that zombies don't do well with locked doors, and I'm no exception. I mean, it's not like being a zombie gives you super lock-picking skills or anything, but if in this situation, my joy would be unbridled if it did. One of the positive things about the post-apocalypse is that there's all types of junk just lying around. I mean, had I taken some of those technical classes in high school, I would have been able to build my own place now and not be in this predicament. But instead, I decided I wanted to paint for a living. You know, like art and all that. The only way this could help me now is that if I could paint a tunnel so I can escape like in the cartoons, or maybe just a big sign that reads, Edgar's a cool guy and just wants to have pizza. He doesn't want to eat you. The thought never once crossed his mind because cannibalism is just kind of gross and not a nice thing to do to people in general. Also, I have no paint nor time as these bloodthirsty savages get close to my location. Think, Edgar, think. I find something to hit with the door as hard as I can. If it... Oh, dear God, I can't read my own words. If the door budged, it's because I fell down and my point of view was a bit shaky. Not exactly heroic. I try again. Seems the door has moved slightly. I repeat this process until there's enough room for me to squeeze through. I manage to become free and I'm sailing through the streets in an attempt to get away from whoever these people are. I smile as I run. Foolish humans, we are the future. This is our world. We shall rule it with an iron fist. Crap. In my hasty escape attempt, I must have lost a hand squeezing through that door. I also noticed a distinct lean as I am standing. Yep, a foot. I am down to 1 hand and 1 foot. Fantastic. Not the way I wanted to start my day. That was my first contact with humans since the outbreak. I haven't seen any since I've turned. I didn't have much use for them when we were all humans, and I certainly don't see me being as a fan of theirs after all of that mess. So many questions. Where did they get those guns from? Like, did every redneck within a 50-mile radius just up and think, hey, yeah, buddy, zombie apocalypse, we're going to kill us some zombies, buddy. Get that Budweiser out from out back of the truck, let's go to Bass Pro. What in the world, Jethro? Like, you do understand we were just like you once, right? Okay, not exactly like you, but we were once all human. Greg was probably the manager of a local tire shop. Might have had a cup by the register filled with little bank lollipops for the kids. He probably had a wife. Her name was more than likely Sarah. They probably even had Salisbury steak made every Thursday night while they watched television. Sarah might even have a dream to sell makeup stuff on the internet. And here you guys show up with an arsenal that embarrassed most small nations and turn my buddy Greg into a mass of crimson paste. Seriously, guys? You jest, right? What if Greg was running at you just because he was happy to see you? We haven't seen an actual human as long as I can call, and you just do all that? Also, I'm missing a hand and a foot. If I am to find pizza, the only way would probably be through those humans. I managed to scrape up a few crumbs of chips and something that might have been candy, might have been sawdust. That's the other thing humans don't understand about zombies. Your taste buds become slightly altered. And by slightly, I mean totally. Your body goes through changes. Yes. I realize that last statement sounded like something my gym teacher was forced to read to us in sex education in middle school, but I don't know a better way to describe it. As far as I can remember about this new life of mine, was that I was stepping outside my house after an intense boss fight in a video game. I was tackled out of nowhere, and I've been a zombie ever since. I would be more of a zombie if I still had both my hands and both my feet. Still a little bitter about my new situation, not going to lie. I don't want to go back in town. Clearly, if those humans are going to be there, they made it highly apparent we're not exactly going to be besties. I survey my new surroundings. It's getting dark, so I suppose I better rest for the night. And by rest, I mean pace for an incredibly long and awkward time. As I thump along, a tear rolls softly down my rotting face. I thought I'd missed pizza, but it turns out I missed my foot even more. And my hands, because I can't wipe away that tear. The dawn breaks, and it's time for me to face my fears. I must go back into town, pay my respects to the lump of Greg, and somehow muddle through this catastrophe. Needless to say, today's trip will take considerably longer with the noticeable absence of my foot. If you need a more visual idea, think about walking down a flight of steps and swearing there was one more step. Like, you know that hard step you take and it feels like your innards have been shoved up into your throat? Yeah, welcome to my new daily walk. I go back into town. There seems to be no humans about. I hobble along the streets of the unfamiliar to see what's been left after these idiots have kept moving to find whatever place they think is safe for them. As a general rule, humans tend to ruin everything. I'm sure I was no different. But now that there are more zombies than humans, I notice it a lot more. See, with zombies, it's different. There's no great discussions on political ideologies. No HOAs to attend to, and for the most part, we keep to ourselves. I mean, it's not like humans won't listen to our stories anyway, and even if they could, it'd be nothing but an incessant string of grunts and groans. Not exactly what I call stimulating conversation. Other people, and I'm looking at you, Hollywood, tend to have this strange idea in their heads that because we can't articulate what's going on in our minds, that we're somehow lacking them. Nothing could be farther from the truth. In fact, my mind is pretty much all I have left as my body is slowly deteriorating. I mean, it's bound to happen after all. With social media being so prevalent in our lives for the outbreak, we're all adrift on this sea of mind-numbing cat memes and the latest garbage on what celebrity went shopping that day. Useless clickbait garbage meant to fuel the fires of paranoia and outright hatred. It seems everyone just bought into it, and as a result, everything went into chaos when the outbreak happened. To that end, there's always been zombies. We were just too busy staring at our phones and our screens to notice. Not bad philosophy for a guy who has festering sores up and down his arms, huh? Questions, thoughts, feelings? What y'all got? Yes, sir.
How many chapters is that book?
I got you. Do you like reading to begin with?
Yeah.
You do? Okay. That's great. Like most people, like if I ever do this and I'm like, "Hey man, you like reading?" Everyone's like, "Yep." But if you actually do like reading, it's quick, man. Like it's 9 chapters. That's it, and it's nice and thin. You know why it's nice and thin? Because it's short. You know why it's short? Because when I was y'all's age, and this is going to sound really weird for a guy who's taught English for almost 20 years, but when I was your age, I could not stand reading. I couldn't stand it. Like, teacher would come over and be like, "All right, teenage appling, read this book." Yeah, right? It's that thick, and they're like, "Oh, that's just the first half." I'm like, "Man, I got stuff to do. Like, I got a job. I have no game. I can't talk to girls, so like I cannot read this thick book." So the good thing about it is this, guys. Good thing about it is this. If you pick up a copy of this, anything that has happened to Edgar in this book and throughout the entire series has happened to me. Basically, I'm telling you my entire life story through zombies. Yes.
You lost your hand or foot?
Oh my God.
Metaphorically. Now, and with that, it's more the flashbacks. Like currently, yes, both hands and feet are still attached. However, Edgar does tell one little story about when he was in elementary school, and a girl came up to him and wanted his fish sticks during lunch. Edgar refused to give up the fish sticks, and this beastly girl stands up and punches him in the gut 3 times. He cries. She takes the fish sticks, and the entire school knows about it.
Oh, man.
Lot of pain in this book. A lot of pain. I'm still upset about the fish sticks. Still upset. So yes, whenever you're having a bad day, it's like, yeah, well, at least nobody took my fish sticks and kicked my butt in the process. Other questions? Nothing? Silence reigns.
What's your favorite song from Motorhead?
My favorite song from Motorhead is either Killed by Death or I'm So Bad Baby I Don't Care. Hey! So, trust me, I didn't just buy this shirt at Hot Topic one day. Oh, I saw some guy wear it. It looks cool. No. Other questions? Damn. It's an easy group. Nothing else?
If I buy the book, can I come to your school and get you to sign it?
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah. They'll probably stare at you for a minute, you know. My children are very possessive of me. Like when I told my seniors, I was like, yeah guys, I'm going out to Flowery Branch tomorrow. They're like, App, you're stupid. We're out of school tomorrow. I'm like, oh crap, we are out of school. Like Gwinnett County's out for some reason. They're like, so on your off day, you're going to a different high school to go talk to students? I'm like, yep. They're like, you're really dumb. I'm like, I know. And then they said, and someone goes, well, can we show up out there? Can we be your handlers? I'm like, I think I'll be fine. Like, I don't think anyone's going to be like tackling me or rushing me or anything. Like, there's no. They're like, no, we could get like little earbuds and like someone comes up like, hey, step back from that. I'm like, dude, you come up to my chest. Who are you going to protect? What else? Nothing? Nothing? You guys are good? Everybody's
How
trying
often
to.
do you shave your head?
I try to shave it every 2 days.
Every few days?
Yeah. Because if not, I get this weird like microphone top. Like it looks like the top of a microphone from 70s game shows, and that's just kind of embarrassing. You guys are doing good. The hard questions are flying right now. Everything's set, solid.
How
Yeah.
much is that, bro? Talk about buying.
$7.
Oh, God, that's pocket change.
Yep, pocket change. Pocket change. Look, I ain't trying to break anyone's bill, folks. I'm just trying to get a little side hustle here. Now, I will say this about that. The only place you can buy this right now is on Amazon. You go on Amazon, you type in Jason Appling, it'll bring it all up, all 3 books. If you scroll past the 3 books, you're going to see a really thick book on like math and biochemistry. I did not write that. Like, no. No.
What are your other 2 books?
My other 2 books, well, it's Edgar the Hobble Continues, so it's like a little series. And then the 3rd book, I reached really deep into my brain for the title of this one. I call it Edgar the Third. The third in the series. It's a cerebral thing, really. What else? Nothing? You guys ready to go back to class? No. Oh, come on.
I have a question.
Yeah.
Can
What
I
you
see
got?
your tattoos?
Can you see my tattoos? There they are. Sorry. The last time someone came up and was like, hey, can I see your tattoos? I was like, it's kind of a weird question, but okay. And so, like, people get really tactile when they know you have tattoos. Like, they want to touch. It's so annoying. Like, someone came up to me and they were like, hey, man, can I see your tattoos? I'm like, sure. And I slowly move my hand over. Yeah. And he just mauls my arm and, like, lifts up my shirt. I'm like, wow. I'm like, is that how you see? Are you blind? Like, what in the world is this? So I just, I'm like, okay, so if something like me came up to you on the street and was like, hey, man, nice shirt, can I see it? Like, you would call the cops on me really quick. You start swinging, so I don't know. Other questions? Nothing? What time is it? You got your telescreen up. Oh, that's fine. 9:58? That's fair enough. And we're out of here, teachers, we're out of here at what? 10:10? Sweet. So I've got 12 minutes to try and fill up this void. No, I'm not. I sang one time, and it was god awful. I never did it again.
Weirdest situation you ever been in?
Right now. I don't know. Usually the weirdest situation I've ever been in. Probably when I first started teaching, when I did student teaching. Yeah, I was much younger. I mean, I wasn't prettier than I am now, but I was considerably younger, right? And I just started student teaching, and everything was going wonderful. Everything was just great. And then Valentine's Day showed up, and I get to my little student teacher desk that the supervising teacher gives. It's like whenever you have a student teacher, it's always like, oh, here's my crap, you can use it. Like I haven't used this in a while. I go up and I'm like, all right, unload my stuff, and there's this balloon, like massive, with like the little thing of candies and stuff like that. I'm like, what in the world? I reach down and I open the note. It's like, to someone who I like, parentheses, Truelli, they misspelled truly. So there was like this weird E in there. Truelli? I was like, who is Truelli? So I looked down, and it was one of the students that I was student teaching. I was like, oh God, no. Probably the weirdest situation I've ever been in. Like she comes up, she was like, Mr. Halfling, did you get my? I'm like, yeah, I got it. She's like, she goes, I just wanted. I was like, no, we're fine. Appreciate the big balloon. Can't wait to pop it. Like, no. Wait to pop it. Yeah. Pump brakes. Did I eat candy? Did I eat candy? Ask me that question again if I ate that candy. You bet I ate it. It was free candy. What else, guys? Before I shake you up, it's like shaking up cans of soda and passing it to the next person. Like, here, teacher, you take these people now. What else?
Pancakes and waffles.
Waffles. Yeah, and the reason waffles is because there's only one place to be recognized in my beloved South, and that is the Waffle House. Yeah. You can make an argument about IHOP, and I'm like, oh, that's so cute. You need things like cheese sticks to validate you. Oh, no. Give me a Waffle House, and if that score is above 70 for the health score, I'm not going in. I'm not going in. Like, if it's in the 20s, and I see all the cooks outside frantically smoking cigarettes, I'm like, that's where the best food is. Yes. That's where the best one is. Yeah. I've never seen a clean Waffle House. I don't know what one looks like. I have no idea.
They offer me a job every time I go in.
Oh, for real?
Apparently the guy's everything.
That's funny. Usually whenever I go into Waffle House, they're like, you gotta go. Oh, man, come on. What else? Yes. Why did I choose to write the book? I'm an old person, so I have old person social media, i.e. Facebook. And friends, old students I have taught, all that good stuff, they will see my statuses where I rant about God knows what. And they all kept saying the same thing. Dude, you're pretty funny. You should write a book. I'm like, I don't want to. That was my biggest excuse for the longest time. I was like, I don't wanna. And they said, well, but if you did, I'd buy it. I'm like, oh, for real? How much money are we looking at? So I figured that I would go ahead and start it. And how the entire idea got started, my wife and I were sitting around watching The Walking Dead. And there was one scene where Daryl was out being Daryl and sweaty and smarmy and with that fake Southern accent he has that he pushes way too hard in every episode. Walkers. Stop. No one talks like that. So he comes around the corner and he sees this zombie that's nowhere near him. Nowhere near. They could have walked past. He'd be like, what up, though? And kept it moving. But instead he stops and he sees the zombie. He's like, yeah! And plants it right in the guy's temple. I'm like, what? That was so unnecessary. That zombie was just making his way through life. It's probably had a song in his head or whatnot. And I turned and I looked at my wife and I was like, That's sad. And she goes, why is that sad? I said, I don't know. Maybe the zombie just was like, maybe there's some pizza around this joint. And that's literally where the entire idea came.
It was genius. I never thought about a zombie's point of view.
Well, I mean, there's been some stuff to where they've done it. Like I was telling a buddy of mine about it, and he goes, oh, so like Warm Hearts? I'm like, nope, nothing like Warm Hearts. He goes, how is that not like Warm Hearts? I'm like, well, genius, Warm Hearts, for those of you guys who have read the book or ever watched the movie, or no, Warm Bodies, right? Yeah, that's it.
Yeah.
Sorry. I'm not up on my YA stuff, guys, believe it or not. That entire story is Romeo and Juliet. Go back and watch it. It's all Romeo and Juliet. They told you, like, his buddy's name was Ben, i.e. Benvolio. It's literally right there. Yeah. You just got sold Romeo and Juliet again. So I said, no, it's nothing like it because Edgar's love interest is another zombie. So no, not a thing like it. What else?
Why did you become a teacher?
Why did I become a teacher? This may come as a shock to you guys, first meeting me. I was a horrible teenager. I mean, god awful. My favorite questions my students ask were like, hey, did you play any sports in high school? I'm like, yeah. I played cutting class. I played riding skateboards. I played being completely antisocial. Like, that was me. And the way I saw it, I owed Gwinnett County a pretty big favor after how bad of a teenager I was growing up out there. Let's consider it repaying a debt to society. But then when I started it was weird because people would come up, like Miss Mila was saying. I have students who still, to this day, come out of nowhere. You know, they've been in college. Some are in master's programs. Some of them are in their careers. They come back, they're like, I need to talk to you. I'm like, what? I'm busy. They said, no. I just wanted to say thank you. I'm like, for what? And this is the cool thing and the weird thing about a teacher. You never know what's going to stick. You know what I mean? Like, hey, you remember that one time I was feeling bad and you told me, knock it off? I'm like, no. Well, I remembered it and it meant a lot. I'm like, okay, that's the weirdest thing. So, glad I could help. Yeah, no. I mean, I like being a teacher, you know. Needless to say, sometimes teachers and I don't necessarily have the same thing in common, but that's cool. What else? Silence reigns. Should I check my telescreen here? My telescreen. Shout out to all my friends reading 1984 right now. And if you haven't, you should. It's great. It's brilliant. It's scary. Nothing else? What is that noise? Is that a normal occurrence around here?
Yes.
Yeah.
We're hoping it's not rats.
Rats? No, I heard you hoping it's not rat. I want to see the size of the rat that makes that noise. No, that's perfectly fine. I really do. Like, if that's a rat, I want to see it. Because that's probably a really tough rat. Like, I know. But I could make my way out to my truck, and that rat could be like, hey, homie, what you got on my butt? I'm like, Anything else, folks?
What college did you go to?
What college did I go to? I went to 3. I started at Gainesville, which is now North Georgia, Oakwood, because being the horrific teenager that I was, my GPA was laughable and barely started with a number at the beginning. And my SAT scores, how do I describe this? Hot liquid garbage juice. Like, that's the best way I know how to describe it. So I got into Gainesville, I got my GPA up. I like college a lot better than I like high school, you know? Just because here it's a 5-day grind, right? Same classes, go here, the bell rings. You ever know, it's like Pavlovian. It's almost like watching cattle move. Because when that bell rings, everyone stands up and just like, just moves. You know what I mean? Look like cattle in the hallways. Someone told me one time, they said, Al, I bet teachers listen to us. I was like, I don't. Not in the hallways. It all sounds like cattle. Now, no. That's my special cow call. You guys are a very special group. So after that, I went down to Valdosta, down in South Georgia. I love Valdosta. Wonderful place. Wonderful. Very slow pace. Because if you try and move fast, there's so much humidity in there, you'll basically get choked out and just fall over. So everything moves a lot slower down. And then I finished up my master's up in Piedmont. Somebody asked me, and they said, "You ever going for a doctor?" I'm like, no. Wrote that master's dissertation, 45 pages total. Literally, no, terrible. And worse too, it was like writing about education, about stuff that could work, but we don't know. Like, foolish. Anything else? Going once, going twice?
If you had to watch one movie like right now, what would it be?
Oh, wow. I don't know. I'm gonna go with the original. I'm gonna go with the original Karate Kid. Like here's the thing, and here's the thing too, because like when I read to you guys about like I was your standard nerd, I still am, and I got ridiculously excited. There was a horror convention, and like the guys from the Cobra Kai showed up. I was like, oh my God, like so stoked. Thank you guys so much. If you need a